I love starting RPGs. I love naming my characters, getting engrossed in the story, leveling up and developing the characters, and then stopping. Literally stopping the game altogether for seemingly no reason. Octopath Traveler was wonderful a couple years ago, but I never finished it. Dragon Warrior, a ton of fun too, but never finished it. Final Fantasy X, also never finished it. The list just goes on and on of great RPGs that I just simply never finish, and I have no great answer as to really why. It's just the way I do RPGs. But that can't be said for the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I loved this game and finished it within a week.
So what makes this RPG different than all the ones I've played in the past?
So today, let's dive into what makes the Final Fantasy VII Remake so great.
When I think of RPGs, I think of this.
I like it, but how many hours can I like it? And this is what I was presented with in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. The traditional turn or time-based battling of RPGs is almost completely abandoned for this game in favor of real-time action, which for players like me who love action games, this was a huge plus. You constantly get to fight, roll, block, and counter enemies, all of these awesome looking and powerful feeling moves. I felt like I was playing a From Software game in some of the 1 versus 1 fights especially, and this is the greatest compliment I can give a game on a battling system. Traditional RPG elements are still there, like slowing the game down to swap your characters, cast spells, or use abilities and items. However, it all blends so well into a fluid fighting system that it puts the majority of both action and RPG games to shame. The battling system, simply put, made the game addicting and fun to play, and this was a huge improvement over the original. But what was the purpose of all this battling? Good lord, no. The story for this game was a wonderful and complex tale of trying to take down a company that was destroying the planet with weaving stories of ancient beings, scientific experiments gone wrong, haunting memories, and ghosts trying to keep the planet's timeline all in check. The story was engrossing and paced perfectly for a 30 to 40 hour game. It wasn't rushed at all, which was done intentionally for the player to be able to grasp the character traits and full development of each of them as the story progressed. All the characters in the game had fully realized motivations, interests, backgrounds, and ultimately felt real. I'll admit some of the characters or voice acting felt a little overacted in parts.
You gonna stand there and pretend you can't hear the planet crying out in pain? I know you can!
However, even this became endearing and part of the character's personality as the game progressed, which made for more enjoyable breaks in the story. There is also an undertow and hint of romance as 3 separate girls all express some degree of interest in Cloud, leaving players to root for the romance of their choice. My romance choice died, which was disappointing, however being mostly spoiler-free, that's all I will say regarding that. But the story is wonderfully crafted and has you sucked in from the first chapter all the way to the last. In every chapter, you will face at least one boss, and these bosses are complex, powerful, and so much fun to fight. Yes, even the evil house was fun. Somehow, they actually made fighting a house fun. Outside the house, all the other bosses made sense in the story and were epic battles. You had to really understand the boss weaknesses to stagger them, and most of them took a couple of tries to actually take down. The boss fights generally took at least 10 minutes, if not longer, which made you feel the intensity of the battle. My favorite fights were the 1 versus 1 and the creature named Genova Dreamweaver. The way you had to fight all his tentacles and just the Lovecraftian look, it made it one of my favorite battles in the entire game. While the majority of the bosses were not terribly hard, the game did have a notion of having really weird difficulty spikes throughout. I'd be breezing my way through, and then it's like hitting a brick wall, was confronted with a boss that just knocked the crap out of me multiple times. Then back to easy bosses for a bit, and then here comes that difficulty spike. 2 of the 3 bosses in the last chapter were a complete breeze, but the bosses in chapter 17 took me an eternity to beat. I like all the bosses, but the pacing of the difficulty was a bit off in my opinion. Now for just a few random topics in the game. Girl Cloud looks like a pilgrim. I want to know more about this cat. She is using this man as a footstool. Cloud is so dark and brooding, but loves to dance. Call them dogs all you want, these are cats. I died more times to whatever this is than to any other boss in the game. Cloud, hating people.
It feels good to help people out, doesn't it?
Overall, Final Fantasy VII Remake was a wonderful time. The story was engaging, the combat was thrilling, boss fights were epic, and the characters endearing. It's probably the best RPG that I have ever played, and especially finished. Final Fantasy VII Remake had so many things that I loved about it that I honestly can't wait for Part 2 to come out on the PlayStation 5. If you haven't had a chance to play it yet, do yourself a favor and give Final Fantasy VII a go. Comment down below what you thought was the best part of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to click that subscribe button, and as always, go out there, find a great game to play, and just simply have a great rest of the day.